Okay, we're recording. Devine, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Sun shining, which is always lovely. Where are you today?
I'm in Dalston. I'm in a hotel. I'm on like a little writing trip in London. So yeah, feel like I'm on a little holiday. It's nice.
Lovely, lovely. Well, normally I kind of ask guests how they've found the last sort of 18 months, but I'm going to kind of sort of move things forward a little bit now because certainly with when I'm talking to guests that are your age and in and around your age, like how have you found it post lockdown? Now all of a sudden you can go back to gigs and you can go to clubs. Like, how have you found the last sort of month or so?
It's interesting because in one way you feel like, oh, we're completely back to normal. And then you realize like last night I went to see Arlo Parks and I almost didn't get in because I completely forgot about the COVID pass thing. So it's like all of that stuff, it's like we need to be on it now, which is like not what I'm the opposite of that on a night out when I'm going to a gig. So I think that's kind of funny. But I mean, like being back at gigs and playing gigs has been unbelievable. It feels like it's weird because I used to get so nervous before gigs, and I feel like now because I've been craving them so bad, the like excitement is taking over the nerves, so that like I'm just excited for gigs now. I don't feel nervous for them, which is kind of worrying. But I've loved it, man. I've got straight back into it. And I'm
Tell me
just
about the first one. Tell me
first
about the
one.
first one back.
First gig back, so that was at it was like a little festival on a farm kind of thing. It was called 110 Above Festival, and it was really cool. It was so well organized. They absolutely smashed it. It felt like a proper little kind of felt just like a music community. Like everyone there was like a musician or like was really into music. Because I think a lot of festivals, everyone's kind of just sometimes everyone's just there for the party, which rightly so, like would deserve
Sure.
it. But it's felt like a festival where everyone was really interested about discovering new artists and like listening to the songs and really watching the show. So it was a lovely, lovely crowd. And yeah, it was first gig back. There was obviously a few little bumps that we had to get through, but that was expected, and it was definitely like the best crowd to do the first show with, because I think everyone was like super understanding. If anything, it was like if anything, there was a tiny little blip
Yeah.
in the tech side of things, but it was great. It was a really good one back, and the energy after was just crazy. I forgot what the high felt like afterwards. You just like you can't sleep afterwards. It's amazing. I love it.
Oh, wonderful. I spent like so long during lockdown having these conversations about how exciting that first gig back is going to be and what the artist is going to be. He's going to be so hyped and excited to give, and what the crowd are going to be so excited and hyped to give back. It's really nice now to be able to have these conversations and go, well, tell me about it. How was it? It's happened now. So it's lovely. Well, let's start the playlist. And for track one, I'm going to ask you to tell me, please, the song that you regard as having the greatest ever intro.
Greatest ever intro. This was hard because I feel like it's a bold statement to be like, this is the greatest ever.
This is the
Disclaimer.
one that everyone says is super
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, yeah.
Everyone struggles with this one.
This is all personal to me, so this is just, I guess, like for me, the greatest intro, my favorite intro. But it is "See Her Out" by Francis and the Lights, and I just this is the opening song on that record, so they obviously thought it was the greatest intro as well. So I'm not alone in thinking that. But yeah, I just love that the sound is like that sound is inspiring, like that super brassy like synth line. Going throughout the whole of the song. I mean, it's not really an intro really because the intro happens throughout. That's like that's what the loop is for like the whole song pretty much. And yeah, I just love it. There, like his production is some of the best production I've heard ever, and like it's one of those musicians that you can hear music kind of change like after they've released something. Like you can see them in like so many people's music, which I love. You can see it in mine sometimes as well. It like that definitely inspired a song of mine called "Off the Grid" that I put on my new part one of my new EPs. That kind of, yeah, like brassy synth sound going throughout the whole song. So it's a really important song to me, and yeah, I just love it.
And in regards to intros and being a young artist, I speak to so many artists that are maybe kind of in the latter part of their careers now, and ask them how the changes in the way that people get music has affected how they write. So, I'm generally talking to people whose first releases were on vinyl back in whenever, and then through CDs and etc. Blah blah blah. And so, with you, I'm just going to ask, like, what considerations you take when you approach writing a song, and an intro specifically as well. Are you considering things like TikTok? Are you considering Spotify playlists? Or are these things that are surplus to the kind of approach of, I'm writing a song. It's as simple as that. That's the piece of art. But do these other things filter in as a consideration? Do you know where I'm going with this question?
Yeah, totally. I totally know where you're going with it, but it's hard to know really, because I think any artist would like to think that they're, sticking it to the man in some way, and that they're not thinking about these things.
Yeah.
But I think you can't help it. Like, you absorb all of this stuff constantly, and like as hard as you try to run away from it, like we're all fall into it. Like, if we get, if you get attention, as much as you'd like to say that you don't care about it, once I get like a TikTok that goes a bit viral, I'm like, ooh. So you do like it, that kind of, that validation. So it's hard not to think about it. But I don't know, I'd like to think that the past few months I've been like writing what will be my next project, and I genuinely do feel like it's the most me thing, and I feel like this time is like the first time that I've feel like I have been able to shut other people out. Not that you always should be, but like kind of just not listen to, or not let opinions like affect me, and kind of, and not let, I don't know, let all of that stuff seep into it, and kind of just make sure that I'm making music for like the right reasons, or the reasons that I always set out to make music for. So I don't know. I definitely think songs have got shorter though, but I don't know if that's because I'm thinking about Spotify. I think that's just because I'm like, let's get on to the next one, or I'm a bit lazy, and I'm a bit over middle eight now. Unless it's really good, I'm like, you don't need it. You're just doing that for the sake of it, because you're abiding by structure. But I like a good 2-minute. Maybe that's the Spotify in me. I don't know. Maybe that's. Yeah.
I find it really interesting. I find it really fascinating that it feels like a middle eight's like surplus to it, and like, why shouldn't it be? Like, there's the traditional approach of, well, it's got to be first chorus, being like, blah blah blah. But there's no fucking rules, is there? You can do whatever you want. Like,
exactly. 100%. And it's hard. I do that every day. I kind of, but then sometimes you do have to like battle. You're like, wait, am I just being a bit lazy, and I'm not as in the song as I am, and I just want to move on to the next one. But yeah, like every day I'll be like, this song could just be one chorus throughout, like, it could just be a chorus looping, or this song could just be structure really is irrelevant, I think, and that's something I'm finding out. If it sounds good, that's the aim,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to take you back. First song that you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please.
Okay, this is, I couldn't really like, I'm sure there was songs when I was like a kid, but I don't like that maybe impacted me emotionally, but I don't think I was in tune with my emotions then, so I probably didn't know what was going on. So I picked Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell, which was probably one in like my teen years where emotions were rife, and this song just, I think more now so that this song really speaks to me. I feel like I've been emotionally impacted by this song like the past few years, like every time I'm super hungover and really existential and going through it, this is the song that makes me, I don't know, it's just kind of like, when I put this song on, I'm being a bit like, whoa me, I just want to hear that someone else is kind of like going through it, and and it just romanticizes it all. I love romanticizing dark things and sad things.
So are you somebody that if you wake up and you're feeling a bit blue, no pun intended there on the Joni Mitchell thing there, if you're feeling a bit low, are you reaching for the Best of S Club 7 to have a dance around the front room to lift yourself out of it, or are you like, right, I'm gonna process this, I'm gonna give this emotion a big Joni Mitchell cuddle and just immerse myself in the somberness and the.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not the type of person that'll like pull myself out of it. I'll indulge in it. Like, I'm like, let's see how low we can go. So this is definitely if if this is on my playlist, this will be like the low point of my playlist. This is the song that my mum knows it's time to come in my room and give me a cuddle. And like, I just kind of, I love it. I guess it's a bit twisted in a way. I'm kind of torturing myself by putting this on and just letting it all out. But yeah, this is the one that opens the floodgates, definitely.
Yeah, Joni Mitchell, he's the boss of that. So you mentioned that, you know, if your mum hears that, she knows what's going on, she'll come and give you a hug. Did you grow up in a musical house?
Not really in terms of people playing instruments, but music was always on. And I think my dad, really, he's like so into music, is like a record collector and like grew up around musicians. He was on like the John Peel show when he was younger, talking about music. Yeah, and he like was one of U2's like first groupies. Like he toured with them in like in the 90s and stuff. So my dad's like really into music and is like obsessed with it, and still now, to be honest, plays like a really, like he doesn't like work with me or work for me or anything, but he still plays like a huge role in like my music. Like I really trust his opinion and stuff. So I grew up around that, and kind of, I think, watching my dad like in the car and the way he would talk about music and talk about certain parts and songs like really made me listen to music in a different way and like I guess like appreciate it. And yeah, so I had that. So I guess like taste is, you know, was from like my household and stuff. But yeah, no one was really playing instruments. I kind of got into that by myself, I guess.
What records were kind of jumping out at you that you was being exposed to back then?
Oh, so much stuff. I mean, my dad, kind of his favorite stuff is like a lot of Motown stuff, but then his first gig he went to was like T-Rex. So yeah, I guess like a lot of rock, like Stiff Little Fingers, like I'm trying to think who else. So many people. I remember the biggest memory I have of me and my dad like was he used to take me in the car and he would be like, right, wind your seat back, like put your seat back, and he'd put Born Slippy on and he'd like pretend you're on a roller coaster, and then yeah, it would like
wonderful.
it would be amazing. So he'd put like shit like that on. He loved like Faithless, The Prodigy, and like loved like all of that stuff as well. Just like a whole mix of music. Like he just went to see Hot Chip in New Order the other night. I'm really jealous of that. So
Oh, wonderful.
living the life. He's just everything.
You mentioned Motown there, and then you mentioned Stiff Little Fingers, and so if you look at them kind of early, super sweet Motown pop songs, and then you look at punk,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time the middle eight was surplus there, and it's 2 minutes of absolute hooks and gold. I don't know. Do you think these sort of things filter through?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like people are always surprised when I say like I love like punk. I love like the Sex Pistols and the Clash and like Undertones, Blondie, like all of that stuff. Like that was what I was listening. My dad did listen to stuff like that, but like I was hanging out with this kid called Niall who, like, when we were like 8 years old, he like reckoned that he was like a proper punk. I don't know where he got it from, and I just used to copy everything that he did. We used to like put like safety pins and wear like clothes and stuff, and yeah, it was a vibe. But that was like probably the first time I was like, I'm really into music now, and yeah, that stuff probably has influenced me, but you would never be able to kind of like obviously pick that up in my songs. So and I think listening to stuff that is, I don't really listen to pop music that sounds like me, because it's like then I'm just gonna make that again, and like I don't want to do that, and I don't know if I like it as much if it's not. I don't know how to describe it. I like what I make, but the songs that I listen to have nothing to do with it. Like, yeah.
I'm going to ask you for track 3 to tell me the song that reminds you of your time at school, please.
This is Bedrock by, well, it's Young Money. It's like loads of artists on it, but yeah, this is the soundtrack to like my teen years. This is, I guess, for the first time when I went into high school and started, you know, like hanging out with all my friends and trying to be a bit cooler. That's when I guess like hip hop and R&B came in. I mean, I know this isn't anything to go. I'm not saying this is like the epitome of R&B and hip hop, but yeah, this was just a song that me and all my friends were obsessed with, and it was just a song that everyone could have a verse, you know, and like memorize the verse, and it would just be a really fun time. But yeah, it's class.
Did you enjoy school?
Yeah, I did. Like in hindsight, yeah, I think I'd love to go back. I wish I could go back like knowing what I know now, because then it would be so chill, and I'd actually want to learn, because when you get in your 20s, you're like, what? Like there was a place I went to surrounded by my mates where people taught me things for free. Like I'm gutted
Yeah.
that I didn't realize that at the time. But yeah, I'm so like romantic about that time in my life. Like I wrote songs about that period of my life for so long, and like I still kind of like feel like that person sometimes now. But yeah, I would definitely go back, but there's obviously it's really hard. Like I would say it's like probably the hardest time of so far for me. I think school is probably the hardest time of my life, but I'm still like obsessed with it in a way.
Where was school? Where did you grow up?
In Newcastle. So yeah, I went to like an all girls school in Newcastle, which was pretty mad, going to an all girls school. But also I'm so glad I did go to an all girls school, like being gay, not because of that, not because there was loads of girls there, but just like not having to be around boys. Like I know like my sister went to like just hearing like my sister and my cousin talk about how like being surrounded by boys every day like affected them, like growing up and kind of being sexualized and stuff. And I feel lucky that I didn't have to think about that when as well I was dealing with my sexuality. Like I feel like quite good that, because I think if I was in a mixed school, then I would probably ended up doing things that I really didn't want to do. So I felt lucky that I got to go to that school, definitely.
You're a confident kid.
Um, yeah, no, I think like, and I still feel like that now. Like I think sometimes I have like bursts of confidence, and then the next day I can literally be like revert back. I think, yeah, when I was 11 years old, I was definitely not confident at all. When like early teens, everyone goes through that awkward thing, and I think that sticks with you. So there'll always be moments where I revert back to that 11-year-old self. But I don't know, I think, yeah, I was a kind of funny, I was a bit cheeky, like I was a bit of a class clown. I think I never did any of my homework, and I think that the teachers still like rated me somehow. So it was fine. I kind of got away with it all. But yeah, I was reasonably confident.
Did you know what you wanted to be?
Um I think I did deep down maybe, but I just was a bit, when you go into high school, like it's not cool to do music. Do you know what I mean? Like I was just, anything that makes me stand out, I just need to abort right now. That's like the first thought when you go into high school and trying to fit in with all your peers. So I think I dropped it for a really long time until I felt confident enough to like not give a shit about what people thought. And then yeah, I picked it up at about quite late on again. Like I was making music when I was like a little kid, and then I dropped it when I went to high school, picked it back up at about 15, 16. Basically when people started talking about uni and like doing their UCAS stuff, and I was like, I do not want to do this. Like really don't want to go away to uni and like just do something that I don't want to do. So I told them I'm going to be a musician, and I think they were like, what? What are you doing? But it's fine, worked out.
Did it seem like what was going on in and around you musically or creatively, like in the circles that you was mixing in, that that might have inspired you or made you think? Because from where I live, there's pockets of creativity and scenes, but there was nothing that made me think, oh look, they've done that, I can do this.
Yeah.
Was there anything in and around you then that made you think, look, I'm a girl from Newcastle here, I can do this because look, these are the people that have led the way, this is what I can do?
100%. I mean, I definitely think once I started doing gigs in Newcastle, I quickly realized, yeah, there is a scene, and there's so many talented music that who are doing really well. Like Sam Fender, like we were doing gigs together. We were on the same like open mic night circuit in like pub, like £30 paid pub gig runs, which is crazy because he's absolutely smashing it now. But like, so once I found that scene, that was really exciting to see that people were doing it. But I did feel like the music I made was completely different all theirs, and like in like I at the time, like and I still don't really know, I don't play like indie rock music, and that was kind of what people wanted to hear, or like a singer songwritery, and I don't think people really had time for pop music as much. Or I think the people that were listening to pop music, were listening to like the radio and and not going to live music, like
Yeah.
pub gigs in Newcastle. So that was the issue, I guess. But I think in a way that just made me work harder for it in a way, and gave me way more to prove. So I had a bit of like drive in it, and then that's what got me to London, because I felt like there's nothing I see, don't feel like heard enough. So I felt like I need to go away and just like prove it. But then I come full circle and I went back to Newcastle, and now I love it.
Okay, last one in the sort of formative years. I'm going to ask you, please, to tell me the first song you remember buying from a record shop.
Okay, first song. I mean, I didn't actually pay for it. My dad got me it, but I begged him to get me this song, and it was "Teenage Dirtbag" by Wheatus. I'm sure that's so many people's first song, but I just loved it. I still love it now. If this song comes on, I need to do like a full performance of it. Okay.
It's a cracking little pop record, isn't it? And it, you know, I run a sort of indie alternative nightclub, and it doesn't matter what we play, you drop that, and like whether you're 18 or you're 38, you're losing your shit to that. It's just a perfect little pop gem. It really is.
So good.
You mentioned, you know, we spoke about confidence, and you kind of left the story into the point where, you know, you was playing pop music in pubs that were kind of wanting to hear indie rock stuff and singer-songwriter stuff. And so confidence aside, you know, you've now reached, you know, a really amazing point, you know, in your career. And so in one of the most difficult industries to achieve success in, so confidence aside, I want you to tell me about your drive and how driven you are.
You know what, it's hard, like after doing something for like a few years, you kind of you doubt your drive a bit, but I actually probably think I'm probably as driven as I've ever been. It's just resilience as well, you know. You have so many things that knock you down that it's hard to realize that you actually are driven, because you're climbing over so many like obstacles constantly, and you feel like when it's going easier that you must be driven because you're getting shit done, but it's not always the case. So I hope so. I think I'm still pretty driven, you know, like I wake up every day and have like ideas about songs, and like I don't know if it's a drive, I'm just like passionate. I'm just still so in love with what I do, and I just want to get out of bed and make music all day. Maybe there's areas that I could improve on in like other parts of the job, you know, like I don't know, like all the stuff that isn't music. But I'm a musician at the end of the day. I want to write songs. So yeah, I think I'm pretty driven. I don't know. It's hard to know.
Well, for track 5, this is normally a kind of retrospective look back on the heady days of, you know, the guest clubbing. I imagine you're still in the thick of it and enjoying it. So I don't want it to be something that soundtracked your years, but what's soundtracking your years, or what, you know, what were your, I guess we could say soundtrack, because, you know, the song that you've chosen's, you know, a couple of years old now. But are you still out clubbing?
Yeah, I'm still out clubbing. I mean, I haven't really been. Have I been to a nightclub yet since they've opened up? I can't remember. I've definitely been out. Maybe I don't know if by the time we've got to a club, I'm not sure that I remember where we are. But I think I have been to a club recently. I'm sure I have. It's all blurring into one. But yeah, I've been having fun definitely, and didn't realize how much I'd missed it. It's funny though, like because when I was younger, when I was like 17, 18, like I hated it. Like I wouldn't go out, and I was always the one that like I was always the one that was like in the corner, pick me, blah blah blah. No, but I was never drinking. I was always like a bit like annoying and miserable on a night out because I just didn't want to be there. And I don't know, something changed. But
What didn't you like about it?
I think maybe it was like the crowd that I was in. I think when I was going out when I was younger with like school friends, I hadn't found my people yet, and I guess it was all just like me and my mates all getting really dolled up for them to like go out and just like talk to boys. So I think, yeah, in hindsight, it actually makes sense that I didn't like it. It just wasn't my scene. Like I go out now and it's like different, you know, like I found my people, and now it's just about being daft. It's not about anything else. It's about being daft and having fun and listening to good tunes. So I think you've got to find your night out, don't you?
I think you've got to find your tribe. I
Yeah.
think that's where it's at. And I say it to my daughters all the time. I'm like, because they're literally 16 and 18, and any times that they're having trouble with their sort of social group or school or whatever, I was like, don't worry, like it'll be all right. You'll find your tribe and you'll proper shine then, and and everything could be easy then. But yeah, so well, tell me the track that you've chosen anyway, please.
So this was a song that when I was younger, this was when you said clubbing years, I don't know why I just thought of like 18, 19, blah blah blah, 17, whatever, those teen years when I was first kind of like sneaking out and going clubbing. And yeah, it's My Love, Route 94, which was just like the tune of that time. It was like the biggest song, you could not escape it. And I do like, although I said that I didn't really enjoy going out, I do really like, I think that was like an amazing era of house music, like 2014. Like there was so many good house records coming out, and like clubbing was like a bit different then, I think, like with all those tunes playing.
Would that have been around the time of sort of Disclosure and stuff like that? Was all kind of breaking through then, wasn't it?
Yeah, like White Noise and stuff like that. Like all of those tunes, like As Long As I Got You, Baby, like all of those big tunes were out. And yeah, I love that year of music. I've still got a playlist of like 2014 house music. And then I got like full circle moment. I got to work with Route 94 last year, and we did a song together, which was really sick. So I was pretty buzzing about that.
How was that?
You what? Sorry.
How was that working with?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like it was over lockdown, so I didn't actually get to meet him until like the video shoot, but it was sick. Like I think the song's just like a great, like really concise pop breakup song, and I just loved it. I was like, oh, it's perfect, really. And then Route 94 was like attached to it as well, and I was a huge fan of him, so seemed like a no-brainer. And I was also like, whoa, if 18-year-old Liv could see me now, she'd be like, you're so cool. So
wicked. So who else is on, if there is a list, who else would be on that bucket list of people you'd like to work with?
Ooh.
Be ambitious, throw some names out there.
That's really hard. I don't know, it's more like I have a hard time thinking of like features and stuff, so it is more just like producers. I think I would love to work with Muramasa. I think Muramasa is like one of the best producers. Like every time he puts something out, he just kills it. Who else? I'm trying to think. Hudson Mohawk's one of like my idols from when I was like growing up, like for like electronic production and stuff. And I've worked with them, but we've never worked on my stuff. I'd love to do like a week with them and just like really get stuck into it. Like the sessions that we did were kind of for other people, but we got on really well. And he's from Scotland, which I feel like we're like neighbors, kind of, we've got the same crack. So I'd love to do a bit more of him. But there's so many people that I'd need to write a whole list.
Well, you mentioned home then, so I'm going to take you home for track 6, and it's a favourite song from an artist from your home county.
Yeah. So this is The Borders by Sam Fender, and it's like, I mean, all of his music, that first album, just like if I wasn't at home, like I'd put that on and like honestly like just be transported back home. It's actually unbelievable how like he's captured Newcastle, and well, especially like the coast, like North Shields, like in music. Like it really feels like it sounds like it. It's crazy, kind of just like I don't know, and the lyrics help as well, like something like Leave Fast as well, that perfectly embodies like what it's like to be from like a small town. But yeah, it's also just the sounds, like the moodiness and the kind of like it feels like one of those 80s coming of age movies. You're on your bike and you're like cycling through your hometown, like that's what it feels like, and it's like really moody and damp. It just feels like Newcastle. I love it. Yeah, and he's amazing.
The way you just described that was beautiful. Do you when you hear songs, do you picture it? Can you see it? Like, do you create video? If I'm walking down the street and I've got headphones on, I'm in a video and like and I'm picturing it, and like, do you do that?
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone does. Like it's like the soundtrack to your life. You just gotta like pick moments and romanticize them and totally embellish them and then put the song to it. But Yeah, I definitely do that all the time. I definitely imagine that I'm like, this is my coming of age story, and then I'm just soundtracking it, but which is so narcissistic. But yeah, everyone does it.
Course. All right, well, it's your last track, and you get to play DJ here. So I'm going to ask you to tell me a song that you think many people may not know that you would
Yeah,
like them to hear.
yeah. I mean, I didn't know this song. I only found this song out about 2 months ago, but I've been like absolutely rinsing it. It's called "Boys at School" by Spelling. I hadn't really like heard much about them before this tune, but I just absolutely love it. It's like it's really like I think I've played it to some of my friends, and it kind of takes them a minute to get through like the theatricalness of like the intro and stuff. I love it. Like it's camp. Like I love shit like that. And then it just goes into this kind of like mad like arpeggiator synth, which is like if you like Tame Impala and stuff like that, kind of reminded me of that. And it's just amazing. Like all the different phrases the arp goes to. The production's just class. And then the lyric is I hate the boys at school. They never play the rules, I think. I think that's the lyric. And I just love that lyric. It's so simple. I hate the boys at school. I wish I'd written that lyric because I would have hated the boys at school.
Well, we put together a Spotify playlist to accompany the podcast so people can go and listen to all of the songs that you've picked today. And obviously we'll put some stuff of yours on there as well. We're crashing into the latter half of this year with so much more freedom than what the first half of the year offered us. So with that in mind, what are you looking forward to from the rest of 21, personally and professionally?
Ooh. Personally, I mean, like I've been having the time of my life the past few months, like moving back to Newcastle, and like we were talking about finding my tribe and just being with my friends and my family. I just love it. I live for it, and those are the experiences that help me out in the studio later. So I'm just excited to be doing more of that, more time with people I love. And then yeah, like I said, I'm like writing what I think will be like my next project, and it's my favorite stuff I've ever done. So I'm really excited to get deeper into that and finish that. And then shows. I'm going on tour, so that'll be fucking amazing.
Wonderful. Well, if people want to find out about new projects and tour dates and stuff, where's the best place to keep up to speed with what you're doing?
Follow all my socials, Devine Music. I post about it all the time, but the tour kicks off on the 25th of this month in Liverpool, and then dates following for the next 2 weeks. So go check them out if you want to come. Still some tickets left.
Love it. Well, look, have a blast. It's been an absolute joy chatting to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Thank you.